So once again, welcome to the Agroecology Summit organized by PrAEctiCe project, funded by the Horizon Europe program of the European Union. And I would leave the floor to our project coordinator, Professor Jan. Are you with us?
Yeah, I think, thank you, Margarita. I'm called Majaliwa Mwanjalolo Jackson Vulbert. I will be the main facilitator for this event. And before we bring Professor Jan to give us his welcoming remarks as the practice coordinator, let's read a bit the profile of Professor Jan in two minutes. So Professor Jan Hoinkis is the Executive Director of the Institute for Applied Research at Karlsruhe University of Applied Sciences in Germany. He worked 7 years in the chemical industry as head of a group for process development, strongly involved in the field of environmental chemistry and sustainable process efficiency. He also gained a rich experience in managing various European and international research and development projects in cooperation with research institutes and companies such as Bio Next Gen, funded by European Union, and innovation program under grant agreement 246039. His areas of expertise include process development, membrane technology, chemical and online analysis, water and wastewater treatment. He holds a degree in chemistry from Karlsruhe University of Applied Sciences and did his doctorate in the field of thermodynamics. So let me welcome Professor Jan to give his welcome remarks. Yes, Prof, you are welcome.
So thank you very much for your kind introduction. A very warm welcome from my side. Greetings from Vietnam. I'm currently here in Ho Chi Minh City for as a visiting professor. So the overarching theme of this online summit is, as you know, facilitating an agroecological transition among smallholder farmers through technology and innovation. This is exactly what we are looking into in our PrAEctiCe project, and later I'm gonna give a very quick overview about our project. And this is a topic which stands at the heart of sustainable agriculture. So how can we facilitate this transition from the state-of-the-art to agroecology, and in particular looking at the addressing the smallholder farmers who are the backbone of the food system in East Africa. And so agroecology, this is what we are aiming at to show that it offers great opportunities, a path forward to integrating traditional know-how in Africa and ecological principles. And finally, we definitely can create systems which are resilient. So climate change is one of the keywords. Sustainable, productive, of course. Economic viability is a great challenge. And so we can make use of today's technologies. This is what we're going to show in the following. Digital tools, so satellite observation, a variety of sensors for precision farming, and renewable energies. There will be also a talk on solar PV, photovoltaics, water treatment, and a variety of topics. But I think finally, the very, very big challenge is affordability of this for the smallholder farmers. How can they afford these technologies, and how can they get loans, for instance, to invest in this? And secondly, of course, the acceptance, so that they can. This is very important to collaborate with the people, with the local people, so that the technologies coming, for instance, from Europe, sometimes they are too fancy, and we have to adapt it to the local requirements, and this is very important. The best technology makes no sense if it's not accepted by the local population, and these are the two important fields, and economic viability in the end. Everybody, even the smallest farmer, likes to have a good profit, a good earning, to supply food to his family, and to give him a good life, and these are the important things. But I think together with our African partners and our ideas, bringing the ideas from Europe and sharing, and together we can do a lot. And so we already, are almost at midterm in the practice, and we made very good progress. And I think I'm looking forward to really very, very good project collaboration. So thank you, and hopefully everything will be inspiring, and we have a fruitful discussion in the following. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Jan, for those remarks. Let me now welcome Charles Gitau to talk about the summit agenda. So before that Gitau comes to us, let me read the short biography of Charles. So Charles is the country director and vice chair, Pan-Africa Board, Africa Agrobusiness Academy, with over 25 years of research and extension in both private and development sector. Charles has been engaged in delivering on many national and international projects and programs involving agricultural value chains. He is one of the 11 African and Dutch entrepreneurs who founded the Africa Agribusiness Academy, a network of private sector agri-food investors seeking to foster innovation and growth of small and medium farms in Africa. In the PrAEctiCe project, Charles is involved in mapping of agroecological stakeholders and practices in East Africa, as well as participating in identifying suitable socioeconomic, agronomic, and environmental indicators for agroecology. Charles holds a BSc in agriculture and MBA in marketing and management science. So, Charles, you are welcome, and give us your remarks.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you very much, Professor Majalio, for that kind introduction. My presentation today is about how we'll go throughout the day in regard to the program. And everyone, the program that we have today, we anticipate that in 15 hours, we'll be able to have finished the entire program. So to kick off, you've already kicked off the summit, which I see at the moment has 82 participants. We have a keynote presentation that will involve everyone. And this keynote presentation will deal on the theme of the role of agroecology in suitably enhancing productivity, food security, and profitability of global food systems. This keynote address will be given by the General Coordinator of AFSA. AFSA is the Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa, an alliance of different civil society actors that support food sovereignty and agroecology in Africa. After that presentation by Million Bailey, the General Coordinator of AFSA, we will have a presentation by Professor Jan once more from HKA. and he will talk about deploying the circular economy in integrated aquaculture systems in Africa. That will be between 10:40 and 11 a.m. East African time. From that keynote presentation and that one of Professor Yan, we will have a panel discussion from end users and experts in agroecology space and technologies. One of the panelists will be Samuel Kabuye, a farmer from Uganda, who is practicing agroecology. The other one will be Robin Dumu, also a farmer from Kenya, and is the founder and CEO of Kisumu Organics. We will have another panelist, Bihunira Medias from Pelham, Uganda. And later, and finally, we have Sunday George from Uganda. So after that panel discussion, then we will now select the rooms that we'd want to go to, and these will be facilitated by PrAEctiCe. And in parallel session 1, or what we would call room 1, we will have the topic on the theme on digitization and innovation in agroecology practices. The main presentation will be done by the University of Maribor by Professor Domen. And this will involve digital decision supporting tools for accelerated transition to agroecology by smallholder farmers. This will be moderated by Donasis Chanzapoulos and will be followed by a question and answer session. And the moderator and all participants will be expected to get into that. The room 2, or what we're calling the parallel session 2, will be moderated by Michael Farrell from AFSA. And this will involve integrating scientific innovation and indigenous knowledge for accelerated transition to agroecology by the farmers. Again, sub-themes from this session. One will be agroecology practices and technologies deployed by smallholder farmers for accelerated transition to agroecology in their farming systems. The second one that will be presented by Professor Okello from Maseno University will involve assessing smallholder farmers' transition to agroecology in a way that builds on indigenous knowledge. This, again, we talk about indicator framework for measuring agroecology transition in smallholder farming context. So in the plenary discussion regarding this, we'll have something on making agroecology transition gender inclusive and equitable for all. And again, this will be moderated by Michael Farrell. In room 3, the session 3, we will have the theme on soil health and water quality management in circular integrated agriculture and aquaculture systems. Again, this will be moderated by Professor Majaliwa, and the discussion will revolve around soil and water management from an agroecological perspective. The room 4, or the session 4, will involve the theme on renewable energy solutions in agroecological systems in Africa. This will be moderated by Makerere University, and topic of discussion will revolve around research and innovation towards meaningful adaptation for renewable energy solutions that support agroecological transition among smallholder farmers in Africa. There will be a presentation from Fabian Dold from PrAEctiCe Solar. The last session in this, the last room, session 5, will revolve around discussion and presentation on agroecology practices in smallholder aquaculture production, socio-economically viable models for the African context. And this will, evolve around technology-based systems for aquaculture-based production systems, downscaling technologies to suit the socioeconomic context of Africa smallholder farmers. So this is expected to take 1 hour from 11:25 to 12:35. And we anticipate that in these breakout sessions, that participants will select the rooms that fits their interests. And perhaps we will have an almost similar number in each breakout room, so that we don't have one room with so many people, but we anticipate that we will have almost an equal distribution. So after that, and before I leave that, let me mention that after that 1 hour, the rooms will be closed, so there will be no more time for discussion. So we ask the moderators in each room to really keep time and focus on the discussion. After that, we will reconvene back and have presentations from the parallel sessions. We have presentations from 1 to 5 by those people who have been assigned to report back. And this will take about 25 minutes to report. And between 1 to 1:15 East African time, we will have the closure by looking at the way forward and followed by the closure of the session. So that is the program for today. And I hope that we'll be able to accomplish what is in the program today. Thank you so much, and thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Charles, for that detailed agenda for today. Without losing too much time, let me call Million Belay, who is the General Coordinator of AFSA. But before he comes, let me read shortly his profile. Million Belay, General Coordinator, Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa, called AFSA. Million has been working for over 2 decades on intergenerational learning of biocultural diversity, agriculture, the rights of the local community to seed and food sovereignty, and forest issues. He has a PhD in environmental learning, an MSc in tourism and conservation, and a BSc in biology. And he is a member of International Panel of Experts on Sustainable Food System. Million, you are welcome to give us this keynote presentation. Is Million around?
Yes, like I.
Yes, Million, you are welcome.
It seems we have some problems with the audio.
Yeah, is Million around?
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, morning.
Do you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes. Yes, my name is Milion Balai. I'm the General Coordinator of the Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa. I know you have introduced me. I'm sorry, we just finished a 3-day summit, a youth summit, where over 1,000 youths, both physically and virtually, have participated. It was a very, very successful meeting that we have concluded because the Minister of Planning and Development came and she has promised to integrate agroecology into the NAP and DC, and also to pressurize the Ethiopian government to put agroecology into the newly being developed policy initiative, which is going to be called the Kampala Declaration. But now we call it a post-Malabo process. So that was one of the big results of the meeting, when the youth have committed themselves to agroecology, to sustainable and healthy food systems. So I just wanted to let you know of this fantastic development. And AFSA is very much happy to be part of the PrAEctiCe process. Charles informs me quite often about the process. We're very much excited with our relationship with universities. It's very, very, very much important that whatever we do in the activism world, that is supported by research. I had a good fortune of having a meeting with a group of universities here in Uganda, and they have agreed to start a university network on agroecology, which we are working on it. And this is a result of the PrAEctiCe movement. And I'm very much happy that there is a lot of mapping done of practical agroecological practices in Eastern Africa, which we hope to repeat in other parts of Africa too. And that's a very, very much important process. So who is doing agroecology, what kind of agroecology? So this database is very, very much important. We are already using it for our narrative. Wherever we go, we talk about agroecology, as you know, and the mapping is already done, and our relationship with the universities is being used already practically for our advocacy process. So we value the relationship that we have with PrAEctiCe, and as you know, as AFSA, we are also exploring this for our work. Agroecological entrepreneurship is one of them, to respond to the question, how can we use the forces of the market to transition to agroecology? We have a campaign which is called My Food is African, where we are promoting agroecological products and as well as our traditional food, African food. We are also very much happy to let you know that we have started a campaign which is called Cities Live, and Cities, farmer seed system is the basis for agroecology, and that campaign is really, really moving forward. We also have a campaign now to integrate agroecology into the climate policy spaces. That's why the speech by Minister of Planning and Development has really excited us, because she has promised to integrate agroecology into the NDC NAP and support the development of an agroecology policy for Ethiopia. I just got an invitation from my Kenyan partners this morning, and they are going to launch an agroecology policy for Kenya end of November. So there's a lot of things happening on agroecology. I think the wind is shifting to agroecology, and I'm so happy that we are working together. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to address you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Million, for those remarks. Thank you for the commitment of the youth of Africa to agroecology, and AFSA for promoting agroecology across the continent. Kindly bear with us. I think Professor Yan is supposed to come now, so to talk about deploying the circular economy in integrated aquaculture systems in Africa. So Prof. Yan, we have already introduced Prof. Yan as one of the lead scientists under PrAEctiCe and the principal investigator under PrAEctiCe. Professor Yan, you are welcome.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. Let me try to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I think we can see your screen, but now you need to select the file.
Can you see my presentation?
Oh, we can see it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, this is the title, Circular Economy in Integrated Aquaculture Systems in Africa. And I try, as I already mentioned, to take this opportunity to give you a very quick introduction into the PrAEctiCe project. So the title of this of our PrAEctiCe project, the abbreviation is agroecology as a keyword, with a focus on the circular energy, nutrient, and water system. And so PrAEctiCe will provide finally a new agroecology indicator system, guiding smallholder farmers on their way from the conventional to the agroecological practices in agriculture. And so this is the challenge. And as I mentioned in my introduction, there are really big, hurdles which needs to be overcome. And therefore, we have decided to launch this project with our partners in Africa. And what is special, this was already mentioned in the title. We are looking into agriculture in combination with aquaculture, so integrated agroecological farming, because we think we can best make use of all, or turning best waste into valuable stuff. So the waste from the aquaculture into agriculture, and to use this, by help of, this is another keyword, which technologies and innovation do we look into in this project. And as I mentioned, PV, solar power, which is already prevalent in Africa, because it's very sun-rich and it makes sense, and the cost of these units dropped significantly. So details coming later. Wastewater treatment. We started already in 2016 in Kisumu in Kenya with a first EU project, and we set up a small, I'm coming into showing some details later on, a so-called membrane bioreactor, a special wastewater treatment, which finally offers very high quality water, which can be used for irrigation, for agriculture, and so on. And our colleagues from Maribor, so there will be more details in their presentations. So they are looking into IoT-based sensors, satellite observation. There are many opportunities now to monitor the crops, and in order to finally optimize the system. Of course, nowadays also with the help of AI, and this is very thrilling, and that can be done a lot. So this is the basic concept. And so we are looking first in, or this was already done, the most promising agroecological approaches in East Africa. So these work packages are already done. And so we provide evidence in the circular water, energy, nutrient in the soil, and aquaculture, agriculture, which are the best practices. And of course, as I said, we are addressing smallholder farmers in their transition. And so finally, we will be ending up with a novel agroecological indicator system. And this will be tested in 3 living labs, details coming later. And so with different focus on different technologies and different techniques, and how this will be done, co-creation activities, living labs, 3 living labs, details coming, training, and finally ending up in a decision support tool, which is to be developed between our partners in Maribor and in the end users in Africa. And we had in September a partner meeting in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, and we already discussed this, and so hope to make progress within the second part of the PrAEctiCe project. So these are the partners. So from Europe, as you could see, Germany, Malta, Portugal, and Sweden, and the focus is on East Africa, around the Lake Victoria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. So we have our partners over there, and Nigeria, PrAEctiCe, which who supports the general project management and dissemination, and do a very good job. They are very, very much experienced in the dissemination activities, and so this is very, very important for us, because we do not want to address only East Africa, but also to, as you know, there are many now participants from other regions in Africa, North Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, West Africa, and so on. And we want to show that this practice could be also transferred to other regions in Africa. So, okay, co-creation activities. We already had workshops, and this will continuing. We had training courses, and we will be starting from next year with the student exchange program. It's very important for our particularly to support the young generation and the women. So gender equality, this is also a strong keyword. And hopefully, and we already motivated a young group of entrepreneurs who launched their own company in Kenya, in Kisumu, and we want to develop further with them, and hopefully we can motivate other young agricultural entrepreneurs to start business, because we think that this agriculture field is really something of high relevance, and it will be booming even more in future. So, okay, coming to the living labs. The living labs were already set up. So by mid of this year, we finalized all installations, and now we have started to collect data. So they're action-based. So we want to develop and to learn about different techniques. We want to show off. We want to use them as a training and site, and for workshops as well. So again, in 2016, we started with the first project in Kisumu with DALF. And they already showed off the first step, coming to details later. And so it was very fruitful, and thousands of students were already passed through the first step of the installations. And of course, what is most important, these living labs will provide data for validation of the support system, support tools, and they will be very important also to show off within open days later, to the local population, and everybody can share and contribute, bring in the ideas to the site. On the left-hand side, the bird's eye view on the Morogoro site in Tanzania, and up, left up, this is our aquaponic system in Kachansi, Uganda. Okay, but again, in summary, where are these living labs situated? In Kisumu in Kenya, and Kachansi, Uganda, and in Morogoro, Tanzania. And the first living lab is a combination of aquaculture, intercropping, and wastewater treatment. And the second one is an aquaponic system, so a combination of aquaculture and hydroponics, which is also very, very topical at the moment, very topical theme. And the third one, the one in Morogoro, Tanzania, looks into fish poultry integrated systems, so integrating poultry breeding and fish breeding, and as well into crop growing, so to make use of the waste, or to transfer the waste into valuable stuff, or valuable products. So one by one, the first living lab in Kisumu, which has been, as I mentioned, set up in 2016 with a fingerling production site, which was run by PV, and a small membrane bioreactor. Coming to details about this later on. For water, for treatment of wastewater, to use it for the aquaculture. This was the first step. And with the practice, we extended this site with grow out tanks. So what you could see on the left, down on the at the bottom left, 15 in total, 15 new tanks in order to grow the small fingerlings, which were already produced in the pre-project, now to grow out big fish, tilapia fish, in these tanks. And for this purpose, we need more water. So therefore, we set up a bigger MBR. What an MBR is, water treatment by MBR, coming in the next slide. So giving you some details. And we are now able to produce up to 20 cubic meter per day treated wastewater, which can be used here, first in the grow out tanks, and further down in the next part, we make use of this water, this nutrient-rich water, for crop growing. So by drip irrigation, and at the very end, this small it's a small unit for growing black soldier flies. This is also part of the project. Why black soldier flies? So it is very popular now in Africa. The larvae of black soldier flies are very rich in proteins, and a very good food for the fish. And this is also part of the combination. You know, the idea is to combine, not to end up with any waste, to make use of the waste water of the fish tanks for the crops, to use the black soldier flies to feed the fish, which is also offering a very economic situation for because fish, the food for the fish, or fish feeding, is one of the cost drivers in aquaculture. And so on, you could see that we try to combine different techniques, and to show that we can end up in a interesting agroecological situation. And on the rooftop, of course, we have the PV panels. Details about this coming in a separate speech in the following. So what is a membrane bioreactor? It's a combination of the activated sludge process, the conventional treatment of wastewater, and membranes. So the membranes in the conventional wastewater treatment make use of a settling tank in order to separate the water, the supernated from the sludge. Here we do not need this. We suck out the water through the membranes, tiny pores, so they are able to retain bacteria and viruses. So they're very outstanding, high water quality. And so the feed of this is a waste tank, a waste pond. So the wastewater treatment plant of Kisumu and we tap the water, pass it through, treat it, and ending up in a very high quality water. And it's very efficient in the degradation. What you could see on the left, no clarifiers, was very compact, and a very small bioreactor volume is required. And most salient, outstanding, the water is high in quality for reuse, definitely not for drinking purposes, of course, but for irrigation and for the aquaculture. And the challenge, of course, so it's a well-established technique in the developed countries like in Europe and Asia, but here we have to see that it should be cost efficient, and membrane fouling, blocking of the membrane needs to be considered. And we want to study this. We have very good already experiences with a small MBR, which was set up in 2016 in the pre-project. So it's running now for almost 7, 8 or 5 to 6 years with the same membranes, without any trouble, and providing every day 3 to 4 cubic meters of good water for the aquaculture and for the irrigation. And again, what you could see at the bottom left, this is an all-in-one, so we do not need sedimentation tank as in the common sewage treatment plant. We do not need any disinfection. We have it all in one. This is done by sucking the water through the membranes, retaining all these germs, particulates, and so on. And the water is well suited for these already mentioned purposes. So the Living Lab 2 is the aquaculture, aquaponic system. You may have heard about this. This is also a combination of fish tanks and crop growing. However, the crops are grown in floating tanks. You know, there's no soil, so the roots are directly in the water, and the nutrients N and P of the fish tanks will be passed through, and this will supply the crops with the required minerals. And so it's a very well-known system and technology in the Middle East, in Europe, and so on. The challenge is to make it suitable for the smallholder farmers in East Africa, and this is the challenge. And we want to use it as for training purposes, to show off the technology and to further optimize it. You see this, the salad, which is growing really very, very nicely, and so these were the first crops I think which were produced at the Living Lab number 2 in Kajansi in Uganda by our partner Naro. And the third one is the combination of the fish poultry. The poultry houses, the chicken houses are up here, and they produce a waste, and this waste will be feeding the fish in the pond. And this pond water, finally, again, which is rich in N and P, will be used by drip irrigation to grow crops. Actually, at the moment, this is onions and spinach, a combination. And this is our partner SAT in Tanzania is in charge of this. And we had the opportunity in September to visit this. It's fascinating. It's really a very, very nice site, and showing this combination. And what is also unique for this, the PV is partly mounted on the rooftop, like conventional, like in the other sites as well. But in this Living Lab, we also look into floating PV system. So the advantages of this is that it requires less complex mounting and construction, and most important, at the surface of the water, it's cooler. So, and cooler temperature means higher efficiency of the PV system. And this is some really the most salient benefit. So we have higher efficiency. And nowadays in Europe, in Germany, this is very topical. There are many sites now set up floating in Singapore as well. And I think it's a good combination, because we have the ponds, we have the fish ponds, we can cover, we can shade some part. And I think it's in future maybe a good combination for aquaculture, for sustainable aquaculture, combined with a renewable energy source. Okay. And finally, as I mentioned, we will be ending up, this is the idea, this has been already created by our partners in Maribor. So 3 mobile apps, one for the farmers, one for the advisors of the farmers, and the third one for the data specialists. And so different details needs to be discussed. What does a farmer really need for his daily business to run? For instance, if he's running a PV system, he needs to know how about the energy produced, how about the status of the batteries, and so on. Everything should be shown on his mobile, that he can act in case of some failures. So maybe like a traffic light system, red, yellow, and green, so that he gets an alarm if something goes wrong. And these are the ideas. And the DST scope in different levels, increase of efficiency of recognizing the industrial inputs, and second level, substitute the old practices and inputs by new farming practices. This is the idea, redesign, and then looking also on the consumer side. So this is these are the tasks for the second half of the project. Now we have established all techniques, and we're collecting data in the 3 living labs, and we can now start to analyze and develop the systems further. Okay, training, very important always to help the farmers at the local level. And the sustainable development, agroecological sustainable development, and transfer of knowledge. But I think this is the common sense on-site training we started. And now with the help of our 3 living labs, we have the opportunity, and we learned from the previous project where Susan and Dalf already trained many 100,000 of students of NGOs on fish farming, and it's a very good opportunity to show all techniques of. And finally, the thing is, how can it be transferred? How about cost? How about economic and ecological viability, and so on? These are the questions now coming up in the following. Okay, so drawing to the end, thank you very much for your attention. And there's, of course, as you know, time also to discuss further. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Jan, for that comprehensive presentation on the optimization of aquaculture. Thank you, Prof. Jan, for the wonderful presentation on optimization of aquaculture systems through the use of modern tools and techniques, including well laid out fish ponds system connected to crops production systems, use of satellite for monitoring, use of agroecological practices in the system, decision support tool, but also through co-creation activities with the communities and student exchange program and online training. Thank you very much, Prof. Jan. You have saved us some 3 minutes. So we are now going to go through the parallelization. And for the parallelization, we have Samuel Kabuye. I hope Samuel Kabuye is there, representing the farmers. Robin Ndugu, this founder and CEO of Kisumeo Organic Limited. Bihunira Medias for Pelam Association, and someone from Maif, Sunday Bob George. So I hope those 4 people are around.
If Sunday Bob is not around, we can take Beacon Murungi.
Yeah, can we take Beacon? Let me hope that Beacon is also around. So I want to start with the representative of the farmers. I have some 2 or 3 questions for the representative of the farmers. The first one, do we integrate agroecological practices in our farming activities? That is my first question. Then my second one, how has agroecology, wherever we have a practice agroecology, improved our soils and maybe the production? And the last one is how do you see the adoption of these practices? So those 3 questions are for Samuel Kabuye. Samuel, kindly open your microphone and you have some 2 or 3 minutes to respond to those 3 questions.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Samuel. Are you hearing me now?
We can hear you, sir.
Thank you. This is KSAM Farm Limited. We are based on agroecology, climate change, and whatever. But I'm pleasure to appreciate AFSA Uganda for the good work they are doing through RUSID for making us improving in what we are doing. However, agroecology was there, not physically, but these days you see everywhere is agroecology, and we have Excel up to see how things are moving. Straight to the question, do we integrate agroecology practices? Actually, after being trained by AFSA, almost 80% we have integrated agroecological practices, whereby number of farmers have been trained and sensitized about agroecology and how they can integrate it in their farming system. Because we have different practices like different practices where they practice to see how they can scale up in the way how they are doing their farmers. But this, it has been come up with the effort of skilling them, training them to come from the convention and come to agroecology part of it. And actually, whereby they have been being skilled into the 10 principles of agroecology, like biodiversity. For example, you find long ago, sometimes back before practicing agroecology, farmers were not practicing some of the 10 agroecology principles. But these days, you will see at least a bit of some farmers, they are integrating these practices through the 10 agroecological practices, especially the biodiversity where they plant trees, crops, animals, etc. Then another question, because of time, how agroecology improves soil and productivity. Really, as our slogan with our motto with AFSA, we promote healthy soil, healthy food. Because you can't be in agroecology without promoting healthy soil and healthy food. What we want in agroecology is healthy food and healthy soil. Sometimes back people, they are promoting organic farming, but we will find on the market, on the way, on the plate, the soil was not possessing to produce the food which is healthy. And almost in Uganda, 75% we survive because of the little agroecology we have. The food is not healthy. So that's why we are AFSA and lucid through these trainings to our farmers. We have contributed almost 80% to promote healthy food and healthy soil. And this has resulted into a high productivity whereby we do the farmers do fertilizers practically, directly. After being training them, they use their own fertilizers, because these fertilizers which they make is different from the one they are getting from the shops. From the shops, you will find that someone is selling a label not real fertilizer inside. But here, farmers, they use their own fertilizers, which has been trained by the RUSD and other organizations, so that they increase their productivity. For example, we found that during sometime was back, or during the climate change, farmers were not able even to produce high yield in their crops due to unfertile soil. But in agroecology, as our slogan says, we promote healthy food, healthy soil. Farmers these days, they are producing high yield, the crops are healthy. However, we are in struggle with the ministries, maybe the MAIF and whatever they are saying, agroecology people, all the organic things, they can't produce high things. But this, we always refer them. You come to our farms, you make a research to our farmers. The way the RUSD and AFSA being skilled us actually drives us to have a serious yield and increasing on productivity. Because you can't have the increased productivity without healthy soil without healthy soil. But our soil now these days are very healthy, and we can manage to increase the productivity after practicing the agroecology practices. Thank you very much. Now, the last question is about...
Samuel. I think you have responded to the last question about adoption. You told me that about 80% of the farmers have integrated agroecological practices in their farming system. Maybe
yes.
A quick question. What are the barriers, do you think? What are the challenges you have faced in integrating agroecology in your farming system?
Thank you very much. One of the serious challenges when we are integrating this agroecology system, one is ignorances in the community. Remember, we are competing with these conventional people. Sometimes people take long time to understand really what you are telling them is going to work. That's why we emphasize all the people who are trained, the TOTs. Don't train the people before practicing what you are training for. And also another challenge is on the side of the government. The policy and whatever, it needs to be straightforward to help the farmers or the people who are promoting this to have a serious closer discussion that what we are producing, you need to come and see really what we are producing, it can help and save people's life. But you will find, because portion of the government thing is on a convention, especially the container village, we are facing a struggle to convince these government officials that really what we are doing is a serious good job in our future. Then also another challenge is funding. Remember, we use the retail funding by recycling the agroecology practices or the entrepreneur products to fund ourselves doing this, and we thank AFSA. However, we encourage farmers, even if you don't get the direct funding, but you can recycle what you have been skilled, what you have been get to get fundings to continue. And we have been doing that to our farmers, almost 4,000 farmers. And we thank AFSA. Really, what they have been trained through RUSD, we have utilized it, and we get our own funding through recycling what we are doing. So the issue of funding, sometimes we don't wait, but we recycle and we turn into income generating to continue. Finally, another challenge is learning exposure. If we are limited on learning exposure, sometimes it's quite difficult to change people's mindset. And we request that one to cut up or to have a solution on it, to continue having a learning exposure to other countries or to other farmers. It will change the mindset of the people. Maybe we'll find that AFSA in Uganda is limited by the funds. But if we have a learning exposure for many farmers, they can change their mindset. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Samuel, for those nice feedback. I like this: promote healthy food and healthy soils. People are selling labels. Of course, they may not be selling labels, but organic farming can actually give us better yield. So let's go to Robin Ndugu. Robin is from founder and CEO of Kisumeo Organic Limited. So Robin, I have just two small questions for you. Does your organization promote agroecology? Two, how can we make the farmer balance between agroecology and economics viability? And then the last one, do you have linkages with universities and invest in research and development? Robin Ndugu, so let me read the biography of yeah, so I was saying, let me read the profile of Robin Ndugu before he responds to my questions. So Robin Ndugu is a passionate angler, farmer, and innovator focused on social impact in aquaculture and mariculture fishery industries. Kisumeo Organic is an aquatech startup leveraging modern technology to empower smallholder farmers, create sustainable, affordable, resilient, and climate-smart value chain in Africa. So, Ndugu, you are welcome to this summit, and I have just some 2 or 3 questions for you. One, does your organization involve in smallholder promotion of agroecology? And 2, how do you balance use of agroecology and economic viability? And then 3, is your organization investing in research and development on regenerative agricultural technology? Kindly go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mwanjalolo. Hi, everyone. My name is Robin Ndugu. He has introduced me. I am the founder and CEO of Kisumeo Organics. We're an aquatech startup. We work with farmers to create resilient and climate-smart crustacean value chains. Currently, we are developing crawfish value chain in Kenya, where we are working in 3 counties, Machakos, Makueni, and Kilifi. And also we have also included lobster value chain in our product list. So as to answer your first question is, yes, we work with smallholder farmers to incorporate agroecological practices in aquaculture production, whereby first repurposing of wastewater from aquaculture production. You know, aquaculture production, one of the biggest challenges apart from feed is usually the use or how to handle wastewater when after production. So we utilize this wastewater to produce organic feeds, which we feed our crayfish with. We also use the same repurposed water after production. We use it to fertilize our farms for African indigenous vegetables, which also earns an extra income for the farm. We have transferred this model through the farmers we've trained, since this is a very new value chain in the country, and crustacean farming in Kenya and Africa it's not popular, so it's something we're introducing. So we work with farmers, we train them on crayfish farming, we provide them with broodstock and craylings, and also now we train them on these agroecological practices whereby you can incorporate them in aquaculture production, because most aquaculture farms are usually focused on the conventional way of farming, whereby it's they don't focus on the impact they have either on the environment or just to the society. So that's the first question I answered. The second question you asked about agroecological practices in aquaculture, how we merge them to make now the economic sense. And I would say that from the training, I believe I got a training from AAA Academy 2-3 years ago, and in the beginning, I never knew how we could make agroecology profitable, because agroecological practices require time to have them implement and have the effect seen, or the impact seen on the farm and also on the environment. So one of the ways is from the organic feeds we are producing using the wastewater from aquaculture production. It's enabling us to cut feeding cost by almost 30%. So this, when you cut your feeding cost, means your production costs go lower, so increasing your revenues and income and profits after production cycle. So apart from just the increase, the feeds we are producing for the fish, the extra income that you use the fertilizer from the wastewater to produce organic vegetables, it not only betters your nutrition as a household or as a family, but also you earn extra income, because African indigenous vegetables really grow fast, and also they require less work as long as they are provided with the proper nutrient. So agroecology practice in aquaculture not only makes business sense or economic sense, but it also improves your ventures or your project on the economic side. So, third question, you mentioned about research organizations that we are working with. Yes, we are working with Jomo Kenyatta University and Tokyo University of Agriculture, and Kasetat University in Thailand for incorporating research on crustacean value chains and how we can develop crustacean value chains to be sustainable, and also incorporating agroecological practices in production of organic seafood. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robin Dugu. So let's get Medias. So Medias Biunirwa is the head of program at Pelham Association Regional Secretariat. She is an accomplished programs manager with 19 years of accomplishment in implementing and managing multi-donor funded programs targeting smallholder farmers on sustainable agriculture, farming, family farming, agroecology, food system, nutrition, climate change adaptation, livelihood, and gender. She has successfully managed and coordinated consortia projects at national and regional level. So you're welcome, Medias. I have just one question to you. What strategy are you implementing to support sustainable agriculture through agroecological principles? Is Medias around?
I'm around.
Yeah, kindly, Medias.
Thank you very much. And I'm happy being on attending this summit, this agroecology summit. And just to highlight that Pelham Association is a network of 357 CSOs that are working in 14 countries in Eastern and Southern Africa, promoting agroecology, and our focus is on food systems transformation and livelihoods through agroecology. So we have been in existence now for 29 years. And in terms of the strategies that we are using to support agriculture through agroecology, one is we use the on-ground level as a network. We have the bottom-up process that we employ as Pelham Association. On ground, our country chapters in the different countries in Africa have member organizations, and these are CSOs that are working with small-scale farmers and agropastoralists to promote agroecology. And we have been working with over 12 million small-scale farmers. And on ground, the member organizations train the small-scale farmers on the 13 principles of agroecology. And we have we have over time been able to see the adoption of agroecological practices by most of the farmers that we are working with as our PELAM association. And this has been providing answers to some of the questions that people keep asking in different forums, whether agroecology can be able to feed the world. And we say yes, because by seeing the practices on ground and what the farmers are doing, also promoting agroecology centers of excellence, this is giving answers. Then the other process is through policy advocacy. And the policy advocacy that we do is that at country, regional, continental, and international level. And this is focusing on pushing the different countries, then the regional blocks in like ESC and SADC, then African Union to adopt agroecology. And I must say there are different processes and results that we are seeing. For instance, our country chapters, like the PELAM Uganda, has been supporting the government of Uganda to work together to develop the agroecology strategy. Now, there is an agroecology strategy for Uganda, but also participating in regional processes. We've been analyzing policies and also holding policy dialogues at different levels. Like recently, we were focusing on the ESC in Arusha. As part of our processes, we have what we call the annual indigenous seed and food festivals that we promote as PELAM Association. And these are promoted right away from community level, then national level, then regional level and continental level. And this is showcasing that, yes, look, farmer managed seed system can work. And without seed, if we don't have control over our seed as Africa and others, it means we can't be able to talk about agroecology, because we have to protect our farmer managed seed system for its multiple roles. And through the food and seed festivals that we do annually, we are able to hold dialogues. And these dialogues, some of them are farmer-led dialogues where farmers are able to come and talk and showcase the results of their work, the results of the farmer-led research that is demystifying the fact that farmer seed has low productivity. And I must say that we have been able to see farmers give this, like in the recently concluded African and food festival that we had in Arusha. Farmers gave very good insights into all this process, and they were able to demystify. They are doing lots of research on farm that is really supporting the adoption of agroecological practices, but also bringing it out to the policy to showcase the results and the best practices that the governments can be able to support. We have also been able to come up with policy statements and that are supporting agroecology and farmer managed seed system that we are able to share with the different policymakers at national, regional, continental, and also international level. But also, we are also doing research, working with the universities. Our different country chapters are working with the different universities on knowledge co-creation and also supporting farmer-led research for knowledge co-creation. Like in Uganda, PELAM Uganda is working with Uganda Matters University, because we know that through knowledge co-creation, we can be able to influence lots of processes, and also showing that agroecology really can be able to work. The other area that we are using as PELAM Association is now also influencing policies at international level. There are those policies, for instance, I'll give examples at EU level, Recently, EU had proposed the policy on production and marketing of plant reproductive materials. And quickly, as Pelham Association, we were able to analyze that, and we saw the implications that it had on agroecology and on our farmer managed seed system, knowing that EU is one of our main partners as a continent and a business partner, because most of our products go to the EU. And we were able to work with other organizations in EU to be able to send our policy statement. And I must say that we've been doing a lot of work to raise awareness on whatever is happening in the EU that has direct implications on agroecology in Africa. And that is the level that we've been working on. And also in partnership with other networks like AFSA, because we are members of AFSA, we've participated and worked on the CADA process, the post-malabo, because the reality is that we must be able to influence processes right away on ground at a national level, continental and international level. If that is how our network tries to work. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Medias, for that elaborate answer to the question. So let me finalize with Dixon. So Dixon, just what you'll get 1 minute to introduce yourself. But my question is, what are the steps the ministry is taking to address the challenges of adoption of agroecological farming practices in the country? So kindly, in 3 minutes, kindly respond to the question and have a few seconds to introduce yourself.
Yeah, Dickens, I think. You said Dixon, but it's Dickens, I think.
Dickens, go. Yeah, sorry, Dickens. Go ahead, please.
Professor, good morning. And team.
Morning. How are you, sir? So kindly have 1 minute, a few seconds to introduce yourself, and then tell us how the ministry is addressing the barriers and the different challenges related to adoption of agroecological practices.
Okay, thank you very much. For us at the ministry, we are majorly looking at putting in place an enabling environment. That's the policy that will enable the integration of agroecological practices, especially in smallholder farmers. So it is of recent that we had the first launch of the agroecological policy, national agroecological policy, that is still ongoing, and we hope that when this is finally in place, it will help to foster the adoption of agroecological practices amongst farmers. And surely this has been appreciated first by the top managers that lead the ministry, and of course cabinet is buying in this.
Oh, some of us can hardly hear.
Dixon, kindly, kindly increase your voice, please.
Are you getting me well, Prof?
Now we are getting you, please. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you very much. So I was reiterating on the ministry's position in terms of putting in place an enabling environment to foster the adoption of agroecological practices amongst the farmers, specifically the smallholder farmers, who are predicted to be the most vulnerable in the scenario or in the face of climate change. So in this regard, we have drafted the National Agroecology Policy, the National Agroecology Policy, and this is in advanced stages. So when this is fully operational and endorsed, it will help to foster the adoption of agroecological practices amongst farmers. So
Thank
we
you
have
very
also
much.
worked hand in hand with other partners like PELAM Uganda to see that really farmers get the best out of agroecology. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dixon, for those good answers. So let me take this opportunity to thank all the people who have intervened so far, include Samuel, Robin, Milias, and Dixon for this particular session. So Margarita, kindly can we move to the parallel sessions?
Yes, thank you to all the speakers for this part of the Agroecology Summit organized by PrAEctiCe. We now move to the 5 parallel session. You probably have noticed that on the agenda that there are and also Charles Guittau at the very beginning of this event this morning. He was sharing the 5 different parallel sessions. You can freely choose to join. The first one is on digitization and innovation in agroecological practices. The second one is about integrated scientific innovation and indigenous knowledge. The third one is about soil health and water quality management. The fourth one is renewable energy solution. And the fifth one is on agroecological practices for smallholder aquaculture. I will now launch the 5 rooms. You will receive a notification. Feel free to join any of the 5 rooms or to move around rooms. Just notice that the time allocated is 1 hour and 10 minutes, and the rooms will close automatically when the time elapses. So keep an eye on your watch. I have one more quick request, if you don't mind, if you could all turn on our camera, because we will take a group picture while we are all here, which we will use for social media and for reporting and so on. I'm very glad to see that we are around 134, 35 people. I keep admitting, we keep admitting people into this event. Very exciting. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we just wanted to give you the word when you lost the connection, so you can ask here.
Yeah. Yes,
Sorry.
I lost connection. Yes, I wanted to respond partly on some of the questions and my thinking. What my thinking is
Cool.
on the system. I think for me a broader system is okay. And from what I understood is that there are about 3 different apps, isn't it? The one for the farmers, then that one for those that support farmers, and yeah, if I understood it right. So my thinking is on the farmers, the questions that people have been highlighting, on the farmers that do not have smartphones. I was saying all is not lost because from the farmer, my name's I'm called Medias. I work with PELAM Association, the regional secretariat, and we work in 14 countries in Africa, and we are working with over 12 million small-scale farmers in agroecology. So I wanted to say, in terms of the digital solutions, because you will find at times a farmer may not be having a smartphone per se, but they have someone in their household that has a smartphone. I think we need to leverage on that. Then also, these farmers are in networks and are in farmer groups. So even if there are a number of them that do not have smartphones, they have access. I think we look at ownership and access to a smartphone. And I know that within their groups, they could be having a number of them. They may be a group of 20 to 50. You may find like 5 or 3 of them have smartphones. And it means they can be able to leverage on that network because they already have somewhere they can be able to access the information. And I think those are some of the solutions that we have to, and the realities that we have to build on, because not everyone will have a smartphone. But again, if we have the support, the app for the support, it means we can be able to have those support services or support organizations that can still be able to support the farmers. So in terms of training in enhancing the capacity of farmers in the digital solutions and all that, I think the infrastructure is there. The developers have to work with organizations and networks that are working with farmers so that the training and all that can be cascaded to the farmers. So I think for me, it's a very good development that we welcome ourselves as PrAEctiCe Association, and as a network, really, we are ready to support this process if we get contacts, because we have a big network of farmers that are promoting agroecology across the African continent.
I mean, that's super. That's the best answer, and we could not hope for any better answer. We have Margarita here. I'm not sure whether you are friends already, but
We are not, but I can get, if I get the contacts, that will be very good. The contacts of Margarita, and we'll see how, as PrAEctiCe Association, we can be able to support the process, and how
big like from my side, big like.
Yes.
Great, thanks.
So sorry, I was muted. I just put in the chat my email address, so feel free, of course, to reach out.
Okay.
Yeah, and Margarita, people are asking about the presentations in each room. Will they be available afterwards, and how they get them?
Yes,
Easy, I'm going to get.
Thank you. We will the recording of this event will be on the YouTube, while the presentation will be uploaded on the website of PrAEctiCe, and all the registered participants will receive an email once all the materials are available online for consultation. Thanks, Thanasis. Very good. Now we are reconvening in the plenary room.
Yeah, so thank you, Margarita, for bringing us back. Is there any announcement you want to do before we start with the last part?
There is a lot of noise. I don't know from whom. Try. Okay, a bit better maybe now. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now everybody is back. All the rooms have been closed. So thank you everybody for animating the parallel session. I hope there was a fruitful discussion in each of them. A very quick one before giving back the floor to the presenters. There was the question, I think, in some of the rooms about the materials from this summit. The recording of this summit will be edited and posted on the YouTube channel of the project, and the presentation will be shared through the website of the project. Once everything is ready for consultation, all the registered participants will receive a notification via mail with the links to access the materials. Thank you, and I will leave back the floor for the final two sessions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Margarita. So I hope all the rapporteurs for the different sessions are available. I don't know if you look, Jose Carvalho is around, Joseph Sekandi, Charles, Ulrich, and Cassius. So those 5 people should be ready. Can we start with Jose Carvalho for session 1? So we have in total 25 minutes, and we have 25, we have 5 groups. So a maximum of 4 minutes will be required for each presenter. Let's start with Carvalho.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I don't need to use all that time, but I'm going to talk about the parallel session 1, digitization and innovation in agroecological practices. We had a presentation from Dr. Morgan Domus from the Maribor University, and we have been talking about, related to practice project, about the decision support tool which the project is working on. So it's one of our key technologies, or it's the key technology that we are developing and that we are using. And we hope that will be used in the future from farmers and advisors to help do this agroecological transition, not only to help to do the transition, but also to keep them along the time. So just to make a brief resume from this decision support tool. So the key points, or the most important points that we need to address, are the data sets or the data harvesting. So we need good information, accurate information to feed the platform, because if we are going to make our decisions based on the data coming from the platform, we need to feed it with good quality data. And then we will have a monitoring center, which I will say that is our cooking center. So we need to use all the different data sets, all the different data sources, and then cook it in order to feed farmers and advisors with this information, with digested information. I think that nowadays we have, nowadays we have many different types of data sources. We can use satellite data, we can use drone data, we can use soil information, soil analysis, we can use weather data, we can use moisture, photographs in the field. We have a lot of things, in this case related to farming, that we can use and compute all the information to have more easily digested information. So not only to farmers, but also to the advisors. Here, the platform will be can be divided with an application for farmers, which has an easy usable information, and then also the advisors will have a higher managing. They can manage different tools inside the decision support tool to help the different farmers, the different farms that they are being devoted to, and to connect easily with them. So besides all this information, one of the, I don't know if it's an innovation or something, but not only helping the farmers, not only with all of this information, but also with the indicators. Because we know that some farmers will not be able to use too much innovative sensors, or the smallholder farmers, or the smallest ones, will have some difficulties to have some of the sensors that we are using in the project. But having a database with indicators, like for example the color of the water, or some easily notable changes or something in the field that they can report, or they can go and have at least a handbook with the things that they should do when they have those situations happening in the field. So we are using a lot of different information, but also for the smallest ones, the ones that have less capacity to feed the system, they will have like a base of indicators that could help them. So this is the small resume from the technology, but the challenges of using this technology, also the opportunities and challenges that we identified, will be the information to feed the platform, as we talked about, the data sources, and also the output from that data sources. We need to understand and maybe to understand what will be the best data product, the result from the work done with the data sources to feed the farmers' application or the advisors. Domen talked about the questionnaires that the platform will have. So the farmers will have to answer some questions in order for us or for the platform, the artificial intelligence, to understand which type of farmer are we dealing with and what will be the best data products for him to use. That will be interesting. So to understand the best product to give to each farmers. And the questionnaires that I told you before will be very interesting and helpful to understand the real needs from the different type of farmers. The challenges will be also to deal with the farmers that are not so included in terms of technology. We talked about the farmers that don't have smartphones. Maybe we can, we can use another way to reach them with a simple text message or an MMS, or even an advisor calling them. Because if the advisors understand that some of these farmers will need help due to some weather information or some other information that they have in the platform, they can try to reach them even with a phone call or something, or on the other way. The farmers could do it themselves. So I think that even for those that are not so used to use this type of technology, we can also, with this technology, help with smaller inputs like messages or a simple phone call. That's what we think it will be a challenge. And basically was this, and related to other information, that was the comment in the questions and answers section. We talked about the use of the artificial intelligence to help farmers, so and the advisors. The way that this tool could be quite interesting in managing all the available and dispersed information that sometimes we have. It will not, as Domen commented, and we think it will not substitute humans, but I think it will be important to give humans, to give advisors and farmers the most accurate information to help them optimize their operations on the farm and their crop management or aquaculture management, so that they would make their decisions based on artificial intelligence produced information. And also we talked about awareness and orientation.
30 seconds, Lopez. 30 seconds.
Sorry? 30 seconds, okay. And the awareness orientation to make this technology available to farmers will be quite important to be done with the help of the advisors, because digital inclusion and literacy it's a key aspect that we need to address, because we know that these solutions to be viable to a wider group of smallholder farmers, we need to have that taken into account. So, and the key takeaway message that we can have after all the discussion is that a robust and powerful decision support tool that we are working on will be beneficial to the different types of end users, from the smallest to the biggest. We just need to understand and to work for direct all the produced information for the different types of farmers or end users that we have. And so I think it's a small resume of this parallel session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Joseph Sekandi, you can now have the microphone to give us a summary for session 2. Is Joseph there?
We had two.
If
the other one was
Nicholas.
Okay, so Nicholas, go ahead, please.
Yes, I'll give the summary.
You have 4 minutes. You have 4 minutes. Go ahead.
Yes, Professor.
Yeah, you have 4 minutes.
Thank you. I will be fast. Ours was the parallel session 2, where basically the main focus was on integrating scientific innovation and indigenous knowledge for accelerated transition to agroecology by smallholder farmers. And there were 2 presentations. One was by Dr. Ellen, which was on agroecological practices and technologies developed by smallholder farmers for accelerated transition to agroecology in their farming systems. And the other one was by Professor Ogindo, that was assessing smallholder farmers' transition to agroecology in a way that builds on indigenous knowledge. So basically, the 2 presenters just gave presentations on. Professor Gindo basically talked about the different examples of indigenous knowledge systems and how then they can be included into agroecology, and how then this is also important for sustainability. And he gave examples of the seed systems and community-based seed systems and the other agroecological practices that are considered to be indigenous, and also brought out the fact that it's important for us to see how then can this be incorporated into the science of agroecology that is now practiced. Ellen went ahead also to give us a few of the practices that their projects, the Natea project, have identified in North Africa and other parts. And mostly she talked about the fact of one thing that came out that is also linked to the agroecology, the practice project, is about the use of these living labs, where there is what we call co-creation, where farmers and researchers and all these other players come together to co-create rather than the researchers coming with these ideas and giving farmers. So the co-creation thing came out very strongly in our presentation. And the presentation, of course, will be shared. So I'll just get into a few things that came out during the plenary session or during the general discussion. There was general consensus, and not consensus, but there were points. One of them was that improved seeds are not sustainable compared to the local seed system. So there is a feeling that there is a need to support these farmers to maintain their seed banks, the local seed banks, because they are more resilient and they are more adaptable to the specific contexts in those specific areas. There was also a feeling that there is a need, a very strong need, to try and incorporate and also co-create with these farmers as much as possible, rather than doing research and then it ends up in the shelves without influencing policy. So there is need to influence policy, and also there was a feeling that when you talk about, especially to policymakers, when you talk about indigenous and traditional agricultural systems, they feel like it's not modern, and they feel like there is not that feeling of it as being a very strong one. So there is that need to also help in policy advocacy to convince them that, hey, agroecology, when we talk about this indigenous knowledge or traditional, does not mean that it's anything inferior. These are the set of agroecological practices that are being used and that have been used, and they have been proven to be working. Then there was issue about the gender, and I remember Ellen spoke about it, that they have seen that most of the people they are now training and the people who are getting into agriculture and extension services mostly are women. And then how then can we now transfer not only the modern systems of agriculture, but also the traditional, or whatever we call the indigenous systems of agriculture, and transfer them to these people who will now help push them out to the farmers that need it. One other critical thing, as I finish, that came out, that farmers should also be helped in also developing what was termed as proxy indicators, and this will help them in a small way in also helping them to become data collectors, where an example was, if, for example, farmers can describe something like soil color, for example, or soil texture, if they are able to describe it in a certain way, how can we now use this and incorporate it into science and see how then we can develop indicators that are, specific to them and those that farmers themselves have developed, and how then can they develop this and incorporate them into science and make them more sustainable. Basically, those are the main things that stood out. The others were basically the closing remarks, where Professor said that the focus of research has been mostly on the conventional and what we would call the modern agriculture, but not very much is going into the in agroecology, and there is need to be a bit of some shift, and this can only happen when policies and researchers and everyone else comes to the table and we co-create together. And I think this is one thing that also was brought out by Ellen in her closing remarks, that there's a need to move all these findings from the field to also now help put them on tables where policies and decisions are made. And these spaces, that is the only way that this information of the research and all the data that we collect with the farmers and whatever we do in the field can make sense, if it can influence policy, and it can find its space in areas or in spaces where decisions are made. Basically, that is the summary I have from the sessions that the private session.
Yeah, thank you, colleague, for that summary. Let's move to session 3. So thank you, Nicholas. Session 3, is it Yamungu who is
thank you very much, Prof.
Go ahead. You have 4 minutes, please. Try to respect time. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Our session focused on sustainable soil and water management technologies and innovation in smallholder agriculture. So in this session, we had 2 presentations, and one was from Sylvia Gomez from Chirawa Project.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So Sylvia Gomez first started her presentation by giving what are the main agriculture challenges that they are having in the region where the project is being implemented, which include soil degradation, climate change, and dependence on subsistence agriculture. Then she went also ahead and giving the 4 key agroecological approaches that they are implementing or they are using into their project, which include valorization of agro-waste and bio-based fertilizer production, production of high-quality seeds, saline soil reclamation through phytoremediation, and then soil fertility, water, and crop management practices. And then Sylvia also gave us what are for effective implementation of agroecological practices. She listed 3 key aspects that will help for effective implementation, which include combination of scientific and indigenous knowledge. They should also do some studies on soil fertility in the area, and then also this combination of different agroecological practices. And then apart from that, she went ahead and gave their view or their strategy on how to transition to agroecological farming practices. And she said that the major key component of the transition will include integration of best practices platform for data analysis and knowledge sharing, and then also training for both youth and women. Then include also circular economy model and local production, and then also do some economic, social, and environmental assessment. And then she concluded by saying that their target or what they plan to achieve with this is to increase yield by 10%. Then apart from increasing yield by 10%, they also have the target of increasing organic matter in the soil by at least 20%. And then also they also aim at reducing the cost of production by 5%. Then we have the second presentation from Amuri, which focused mostly on soil and water management. Amuri went ahead and provided the approaches to manage soil and water, and also gave the operational principles which will guide the soil and water management, which in order to mitigate soil health, the threats on soil waste, soil health. Then she also went ahead and he also went ahead. Of course, he was represented because he was not there, so his presentation was made by Professor Majaliwa.
And then he talked also about the importance of waste management. For us to manage soil and water management, we need to also consider or take into consideration the aspect of waste management, clean up the environment, and also we need to identify what works best in what conditions. So if in this condition this has worked best, what could also work best in any other condition or location. And then he also suggested that we need to use the integrated soil fertility management, practice the native tree conservations. And the key importance here is that we need to package the available best management practices so that we can limit or mitigate the agri-system challenges. He also suggested that we need to do composting and vermicomposting technologies, and then also do organic fertilizer and amendment. And in conclusion, he said that soil and water management practices are the key element for agroecological or agroecology approach if you want to address soil threat and environmental challenges. I think that's the summary from our session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yamungu, for that summary. Can we get session 4 summary from Ulrich?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I summarized the session 4 for you. The parallel session 4 was about renewable energy solutions in agroecological systems for Africa. And we had Christine Nakayima and Eric Semper from the company Equator Solar presenting mainly what they do with their company and also what they do in the project of PrAEctiCe. They showed us their company portfolio, what they do in their company. They do, next to the projects and the designing, they also do consulting and after-sales services. So quite important to communicate further on with the clients who have their products. They showed us a lot of references they had. So they have a lot of projects in East Africa. So they know the area very well, and they also know the challenges and the difficulties which arise there. And they develop many solutions to tackle this. They have different systems, solar powered systems. So they showed us how well modular the system is, so you can adapt a lot to different environmental conditions with solar power systems. And yes, they showed us how to reduce maintenance costs and capex costs. I think this is a big issue if you see this technology. Yeah, so let's skip this. So what are the challenges and the opportunities we figured out in this session, especially also during the discussion after the presentation, which was quite fruitful. So the challenges and opportunities which gives us the renewable energies, especially also for smallholder agricultural production. The challenges are clearly the investment. I think this is one of the biggest challenge we faced, but also gives an opportunity to reduce also not the investment cost, but afterwards the maintenance cost, and to get a kind of a payback. It enhances the independency of each farmer, and also the flexibility, because we saw how well it's adapted to different environment conditions. So now I mentioned already some key technologies and innovations which address these challenges, especially for smallholder farmers. It's indeed how you can, the company can show you, I mean, solar companies, they can show you and communicate with you how to minimize maintenance costs, operation costs, and not only by the technology which progresses and gets better and better, but also, for example, through digitalization. They showed how remote access also helps to reduce costs, since you see from abroad and monitor and can react and don't have that much, for example, traveling costs and everything which goes around with that. And of course, you have a gap between the electricity bill and what you save in energy, electrical energy. For example, in the practice, they showed in the practice project how much was saved in the electricity bill only in the month of September, which was between 50 and 80% already. Another challenge, the invest costs, the capex. This is one of the biggest challenge. They showed opportunities how to tackle these issues, the financing options. So there are different financing options like leasing or building corporations with different farmers to put together the investment, and can be financed by third parties as well. And the important thing is the solar company also helps in finding partners to build cooperatives. They can lease photovoltaic panels, for example, and you can have the payback after its amortization, for example. They can give guarantees when it's not yet payback. So these are all steps which help to overcome high initial costs for smallholder farmers. And this is also an important involvement of private sector or public-private partnerships to scale down the costs also, which is one of the biggest hurdles. Another innovation or which brings this technology to address this challenge is this easy scalability. So many different system solutions can be provided to adapt on every environment. For example, the company gave examples of Uganda, that they have many different environments in terms of water and solar, sunshine availability, but also different industries. We need different technologies, but these solar solutions are very modular and easy adapted. So this is how the research addresses the different varying needs of different zones. Examples of documented impacts of such technologies and innovations are that you can, for example, bridge the shortages, you are independent of as a single farmer, you can save continuous costs, for example, this example with the electricity bill, which is quite reduced. And it also opens up accessibility to new resources. Yes, so I think the key takeaway messages in this session was a big key is these advantages I just mentioned is to communicate it to potential clients, to smallholder farmers, not only by tell them, but also to showing off with existing practical solutions which exist already and which showed how they can reduce the dependencies, how they can reduce these operational costs, how they can manage the high investment costs, and also not only to show them and tell them, but also to help them doing these steps to show that it's a reliable technology. And exactly, these are I think the key takeaway messages of this session. So
thank you Ulrich for that concise summary. Can we have Cassius Aruo to give the summary of session 5?
Hello.
Yes, Nasa, go ahead. If you are the one to do it,
Yeah, but
kindly go ahead.
no, there's somebody, Cecilia is going to do it. I don't know why he's not talking.
Cecilia?
Okay. If she's not on, I can go for it. So
go ahead, please. You have 4 minutes.
Thank you.
4 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. We had the pilot session 5, where we had 2 presenters. One was Dr. Nasa Kasozi and another one was Dr. Bilonji Chase, and it was on agroecological practices in smallholder production, socioeconomic viable models for the East African context. So there was a presentation of some of the works which are being implemented by the project in the 3 living labs, but mostly on the living lab 2, which is supposed to look at nutrient management and through aquaponics system. So a number of technologies were presented apart from the integrated system, whereby there was a presentation on ponds and on the production patterns of aquaculture in East Africa. There was also someone is talking, Chair. So there was also,
go ahead, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. There was also a presentation of different consumption patterns from the East African countries, and also the issues to do with production volumes, and even looking at other production systems apart from aquaponics, looking at ponds, tanks, cages, and the opportunities for that. We also looked at the socio-economic aspect for small-scale farmers, where emphasis on niche markets was emphasized, that some of these products from aquaculture and aquaponics are quite unique. So within the East Africa, we need to look at the issues of niche markets so that we really see that we can able to make them viable, and also to make them that smallholder farmers can able to take them up. We also emphasize the need for packaging of the information so that these smallholder farmers can able to take up this information for able to establish systems, but also managing the systems in case the experts are not available. Well, there was issues to do with training of trainers, because some of these aquaculture innovation models are a bit new. So there's need to get the extension workers, those people who can able to upscale the information down to the farmers in Masaka or in Arua. So the issues of training of trainers was here emphasized. There was also emphasis on using local available resources, because we have seen in a number of times where a technology is quite unique and using complicated systems. So during the discussion, it really came out clearly that we really need to have easily available resources. The issue of seed quality and feed was emphasized during the discussion along the production systems, and also the context of socioeconomic perspective for smallholder farmers. And during the discussion, it came out clear that we need to look at alternative feeding resources, because so many farmers within East Africa use fish meal as the main protein source. So we said that can we also link up with other sectors within the agriculture value chain, so that we see that we can get soybean, sunflower, and cotton seed cake to supplement the use of fish meal, which is the major, and also emphasis of the black soldier fly rearing, which is also taking a course within the East African region. The issue of seed quality was emphasized that as we promote these technologies, if the quality of the seed is not good, there's more likelihood that the farmers will not able to harvest fish within the expected time. So research organizations and universities were called upon to invest in breeding programs and selective breeding programs using marker-assisted selection and all the other forms of selection procedures, so that we can come up with a genetically superior trait of Nile tilapia, which is a major focus within the farming system. And lastly, the issue of economic viability was also put into perspective of these innovation systems which are coming on board, that we really need to see that the farmer is able to get the profit out of the interventions we are getting, not only benefiting from the crops or the fish, but also the issue of agrotourism. So those are some of the key highlights which happened within the pilot session 5. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Nasser, for a very concise summary. So, and thank you for everyone for being there since 10 a.m. Ugandan time up to now. I think if I look at the number, we are currently still at 118, which is a good number for this. And I know we had some peaks where we went beyond 130. So let's go to the last session of this, last part of this summit, which include the way forward and the closure. So I will first take the floor and then request Charles to give his closing remarks, and then Charles will also ask Professor Yan to close the session. So I have two parts in the way forward. The first one, I want to really thank all of you for giving me the opportunity to chair this summit. It was a great privilege on my side to be part of such important and engaging discussions. This has been good for me and rewarding. I deeply appreciate the trust of the organizer to me. Thank you once again for this event, which has remained memorable for all of us, and probably for future opportunity to share another session. But now, in terms of way forward, there are a number of things which came out of this summit, and I would like to point them out and then probably provide key element for the next roadmap. One, from the farmer, I actually noted that agroecology is being adopted by farmers, and though the adoption is still very low, and government is putting government in the regions are putting a lot of emphasis on this, and they are putting some enabling environment for integration of agroforestry in the farming systems. The third things I noted that farmers are facing a number of challenges. Among them, we have ignorance, issues of funding. Can someone close Muhammad?
Done.
And then we have the learning exposure as part of the challenges facing by farmers. So, in terms what comes out from the session, one of them is the technology which have been put in place it seems to be very sophisticated, although very good. And people are asking if it could be possible to make it affordable to the farmers. So that's the first thing I think we need to look at. The second thing I noted, there are some synergies, but I think we need to look more synergies with other organizations which are working on agroecology. And I think the upcoming regional multi-actor research networks being promoted by the European Union and FARA and RUFORA could be a good platform for such synergies. The third one, the issue of capacity building. I think we need to see how we work on this aspect of capacity building at different scale and levels. Then on the issue of the data, and yeah, it's going to be good for us to start thinking on the reliability of the data we are going to generate, and then also what we collect from other systems in order to make a more robust and inclusive decision support tool to support management of the integrated system. The fourth aspect, which was coming from the session, is that we need to develop key proxy indicators which can be used by the farmers in this integrated system. Number 5 is basically integration of indigenous and scientific knowledge in the co-creation exercise with communities. Number 6, I noted that there is need to influence policy, especially through policy briefs and policy advocacy campaign and events. Number 7 is the issue of knowledge sharing platforms, which need to be looked at. So on the side of energy, I think, which was also very critical on my side, the integration of renewable energy into aquaculture is good and offer viable paths for addressing the dual challenge of energy consumption and environmental sustainability. But when we are embracing this technology, we should be able to reduce the carbon footprint, but also improve the operational efficiency, but also contribute to a sustainable food production. So in this case, though we reduce maintenance of cost, CapEx and OpEx, we need to think of the other aspect, the aspect of carbon footprint, but also sustainable food production system. So we also need to think of supportive policies and cooperations at regional level, which can actually promote these renewable energy systems or solutions in our integrated systems. Number 9 is the issue of public-private partnership, which can actually play a critical role in scaling up these integrated systems. And number 10 is basically the need to look up the issue of niche market, which will actually be part of the incentives for farmers to adopt the technologies we are actually proposing. And lastly, is the need for alternative feeding system in the integrated aquaculture system. So research is needed basically to be able to identify those alternative feeding systems. So those are the 10 points I've actually noted from the different presentations. Kindly allow me to welcome Charles Guitar, not only to give you the closing remarks, but also to thank you once again for the time you have dedicated to this summit. Yes, Charles Guitar, you are welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that quite conclusive remarks. Mine first is to thank you, everyone that has attended. At some point, I think I recorded the participation of 143 participants, and that's still quite a good number for this kind of engagement. So I really want to thank everyone for putting every effort, especially the presenters, the keynote address that was given, and all the panelists that participated in the discussion, the rapporteurs that were engaged, especially in the breakout sessions, and everybody else that participated in one way or another. Kindly, we value your input and your participation and interest in this agroecology project. We know you are all very busy people, and your commitment to participate today is really laudable, and we appreciate that very much. Thank you very much. And in conclusion, I think what I've gathered is that the integration of smallholder farmers in transition towards agroecology is extremely crucial, and the need to support them in specific ways, for instance, in data collection, analysis and interpretation, and also to assist them to incorporate their indigenous knowledge, especially in soils, water, and energy. Their non-scientific indicators can actually be incorporated in supporting them towards transitioning. So I have gathered quite a number of things here, but we have similar projects going on worldwide. And this has been a really, a particularly good platform for sharing information, experiences, and outcomes. In similar projects, I know all the time, this time is never enough. We could have shared more. If we asked everyone, they would say the time was short. But whatever we have shared is really crucial for us. We've gained insights of emerging thoughts and innovation around agroecology. And that is something we really want to perhaps push forward. We've exchanged our emails and so forth. So we should keep that networks moving. And then Professor just mentioned that agroecology, the integration of agroecology in the policy processes has not really taken a lot of root. And I think we as development partners, civil society and so forth, we should support, the governments in integrating agroecology in the concrete agroecology policies, and try to coerce or even to force the governments to support this transition. Already the networks have been formed. For instance, while we were talking about the exchange programs, I got inquiries from several masters and PhD students here in Kenya asking how that engagement, how that arrangement is, so that they see whether they can get some opportunities in that program. In regard to synergies, I think that has already been mentioned by Professor. And then in terms of capacity building, I think I would go a step further and say that for those who are engaged in agroecology, we should push for curriculum at different levels. For instance, in PrAEctiCe, we are working with another organization to develop curriculum for TVETs. And in another one, we are anticipating to participate in the development of curriculum for youngsters in primary education. So I think those are the kind of things that I imagine. And as we go along, I know we are not pioneers, but I think we are a bigger team of agroecology advocates. So we should look for all ways to support it. So finally, I really want to thank our host, PrAEctiCe, for being efficiently or super efficient in the system and the hosting. Nothing has really, there's no challenge that we've endured. And I really would want to appreciate Margareta, my colleague in this project, and Rina for having a seamless summit. Thank you so much. Apodisi, you are the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's get now Professor Yan to give the last and close the remarks, the session.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I want to give a big thank to the organizers, PrAEctiCe Margarita and her team, and so all the speakers and the audience. So yeah, so much has been already said. Everything has been summarized in concisely with 10 points, and Charles gave a very good summary of everything. I only can say finally this event was very inspiring for me. So the different aspects of this agroecological transition, and I learned that it's not an easy task, and there's a lot of challenges to overcome. And finally, I think this event was a great opportunity and give us a good guidance for our practice project, to continue with the practice project. And so in particular, I hope it's also true for the sister projects, so to continue also in exchange with the parallel projects. And I'm pretty sure that by end of the project, we can make a big step forward in facilitating this agroecological transition and bringing this out to the smallholder farmers. And so again, thank you very much. And yeah, looking forward to see and to meet you somewhere in Africa or in Europe later on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the summit is closed, and good day for everyone. And those who have started their weekend, good weekend.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.